All right. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us again. I know again, this is, and let me know if my audio does not sound right. There have been a couple of times people like, Mark, you sound like a robot. So hopefully that won't happen. But thank you everybody for joining. We're going to kind of go over, Angela's going to go over some spring 22 release highlights today. So here's kind of a quick look at the agenda. We're doing our welcomes and we'll do some other introductions, give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves as well in just a minute. Again, do that spring 22 release highlights. We'll do some social time. We like to be able to try to do that, even though we're still virtual for now. I still like to try to give everybody an opportunity in a more casual environment to get to know each other in small breakout rooms. So we'll do that for a little bit, and then we'll just give you guys some quick updates on what we got going on, and then some Q&A and closing remarks as well. So. And just some of this stuff we usually go over every time. So some of you that's joined for a while, it might be repetitive, but I just want to, for those that are new to this group or first time joining us, my name is Mark Lester, one of the two group leaders here for the Jacksonville, Florida admin group. I'm a senior Salesforce consultant for Consultant Cloud for Coastal Cloud. I've been with Coastal Cloud for a little over 6 years now. Previously was an admin for Southeastern Grocers for 5 years. So I have about a little over 11 years of experience in the Salesforce ecosystem. Love it, and continue to try to get back wherever I can, such as leading this group, as well as leading the planning team for the Florida Dreaming Conference that happens annually, and it has since 2018. So this will be our 4th one coming up. So we're excited to plan our in-person. We had it last year, and we're excited for this year as well. So, and then Angela, do you want to introduce yourself real quick as well?
Angela Moten, been participating in the ecosystem of Salesforce since 2014 as an admin, then a senior Salesforce admin, also an Encino admin. Currently, I'm a solution architect consultant at Thunder, and that's it. Been participating with the user group here for a number of years, participated as a speaker at Florida Dreaming, and looking forward to this year's Florida Dreaming as well.
Yes, awesome. Glad to hear. Awesome. Okay, very good. And then just to kind of recap, our goals as a group are four tiers, basically. We like to learn, which we're going to do today, learn about spring 22 release stuff. We like to connect. We're going to do that in the breakout rooms. And we like to have fun. Hopefully you'll do that a little bit in the breakout rooms. But we really like to get together, and we'll hopefully, like I said, start doing that again next month. If we can nail down a location, it'd be great. And then we also like to give back. So we usually once a quarter like to schedule a volunteer event. I think we're going to plan one in May. Hopefully, we'll start coordinating that and give you guys some information once we kind of get that in place. Once we confirm where we're going to do it and when. So I like to kind of keep those in mind as we continue to meet together and help each other out wherever we can, support each other as much as possible. So I appreciate everybody being a part of the community. And then again, my favorite slide, I say that every time, but it still is. This represents, thank you for everybody that RSVP today. This is a representation of all the various different companies that RSVP'd. And I love putting this together because it just really shows the variety of different organizations and companies that are in the Salesforce ecosystem, from some of us that are consultants to others that are part of the Hiring Our Heroes program that participated in that, to nonprofits like Christian Care Ministry and everything in between. So appreciate everybody RSVPing, and those that are joining today that might have RSVP'd a little later, and what it's not necessarily represented here, but appreciate everybody RSVPing. So thank you very much. Okay, and then let me give me just a second. I apologize. Let me pull this up real quick. Well, I was going to, I don't see her on, but I'm still going to announce it. So we have, and I think we might have said this before. I was hoping she was going to be on today. But we have a new Jacksonville Trailblazer community group in Jacksonville. They're going to have their inaugural meeting next month. And it's our Jacksonville, Florida WIT Trailblazer community group led by Michelle Geiger. She used to live here from what I understand, and haven't really connected with her too much yet, but just moved back after being in a couple other places. But definitely welcome Michelle to our Jacksonville community group and welcome her as a leader for the Women in Tech community group that she's starting up and having her inaugural event. So if you're interested in that, make sure you get out there and find that event and join it. From what I understand, this one's going to be, the initial one's going to be virtual, just to kind of get an idea of what the group wants to get out of the group, how often they want to meet, all that kind of fun stuff. So look out for events there and join that if you're interested in doing that, and love to continue to grow our community and involvement and all that kind of good stuff. So appreciate Michelle doing that. Okay. If she jumps on later, we'll give her a chance to give her a little 2 cents. So, okay. And then the next thing I like to do is be able to recognize anybody for any of their accomplishments, whether that's, getting a certification, whether that's ranking up in Trailhead, or you obtain a new position recently. Would love to kind of hear some of the accomplishments that everybody has earned over the last, month or so. So I'll give everybody a chance. Anybody have anything they want to mention that you've accomplishments you've reached recently?
I'll go first. Sam Kashier recently kind of got introduced to this group in Salesforce back in December. I just got my Salesforce admin certificate this last weekend, so pumped up.
Awesome. Congrats,
Woo,
Sam.
congrats.
That's great. So that adds to your Tableau, is it Tableau CRM
Tableau
certification that you
desktop
got as well?
It's a desktop certified
Okay.
in December. Yep.
Tableau desktop
2 down.
certification. Congrats. Awesome. 2 down. Many more to go, right? Awesome, Sam. Great. Anybody else?
I'll jump in real quick. I got my cert back in my admin cert back in February, but the thing I think that in the past month I did make Ranger rank on Trailhead, so I was able to
Nice.
Ranger in the pocket, and then I'm waiting to hear back from my final and third interview for a business analyst position. That I'm hoping to hear back about today or tomorrow, which is huge. I've been fighting.
Fingers crossed for you, Nicholas, for sure.
Yeah, it's been a journey, and thank you for all you've helped me during that process, Mark. And so we'll see. I'm anxiously waiting.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah. Cool. Anybody else have any accomplishments recently? Or working towards, even if you have an accomplishment yet and you're working towards it, and you want to let us know so we can support you as well. So
I'm working towards my certificate. I'm supposed to take that exam tomorrow.
oh, you got it scheduled for tomorrow. Awesome.
We
Diane.
do,
Good.
and it's been months of studying and doing the trailhead. So far I'm a mountaineer. I'm almost an expeditioner,
There
but
you go.
like almost the next rank up, whatever. And I've done one super badge. And after I did that super badge, I was just told by another group that I belong to just take the exam and just bite the bullet. And even if I don't pass, I will at least know where I need to study. That's tends to be how people pass, is by seeing where they did wrong the first time. That very few people pass the first time, and I get 2 free chances. So I don't know. All I've done was just retake tests, and I did the trailhead tests. I'm doing certified on demand now to try and get more practice on the questions, and let's see if I pass. Yay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good luck on that. Sounds like you got the right kind of study involved, that kind of thing. But reach out once you take it, if for some reason you don't pass it, and hopefully you will. But if not, reach out. There's some folks I know. Nick just he said he got his cert. There's a couple other folks I know that's gotten the cert over the last couple of months. I'm sure they're happy to kind of give you some feedback on where they were able to study. But yeah, it definitely gives you some great feedback as well. Nowadays, when you take it, it tells you which areas to focus on. So, yep.
Just real quick, Mark, I want to tell it the 30-question practice test for the admin certification on the Trailhead exam guide for the admin. Is a 30-question practice test that's free, that rotates questions from the actual exam you're going to take. So I know there's a ton of tests out there. The one on there are actual exam questions. So that's what I used. It was huge.
Well, so is that on Trailhead?
Yeah, so if you go to Trailhead, go to certifications, go to admin, go to exam guide, about halfway down the page, you'll see like study resources. One of those is a link that says an exam guide, and it's actually from the company that administers the exam. And there will be questions in that practice test that you will see on the exam.
So I've done 3, I printed 3 of these. I went to the Trailhead where it says study for the administrator certification exam. And there's like 3 modules, and with actually 5 of them. So no, 3 of them. There's 3 of them. I'm doing it right now, sweet. But I have these giant printed paper of the guides.
Before we get off, I'll shoot you a link. We'll get together and I'll get you a link for that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Nick has actually posted that too in the in our chatter group as well in the past. But yeah, I appreciate you following up with her on that, Nick. That'd be awesome. Appreciate that. So
Thank you.
And I do see Prakash indicated he just earned his application architect cert. That is no joke right there. Congratulations on that for sure. That is awesome. Woo. That is quite an accomplishment. That takes a lot of effort. So congrats.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I was actually about to speak. I'm from India actually, and I just joined it on. It's like 9:10 p.m. at night here in India.
Oh, appreciate you joining,
yeah.
Prakash. Thank you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let you know that I just passed my application architect certification with the last exam of data architect, and then I achieved this application architect. I was also preparing for the JavaScript developer exam. For that, whenever I prepare something, I just post some kind of tips on my LinkedIn account. So just the JavaScript tips that I just learned, I posted so that everybody can learn and get up with me. So and that is just
That's
I wanted
awesome.
to let you know, guys. Yeah, and also I posted the practice test that somebody's mentioning.
Yeah, I
For
just
the
saw
admin
it.
exams. Yeah,
I just saw it. I'm in it now. I just saw that page. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you,
no
guys.
worries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. That's awesome. Cool. Love it. Love hearing all that for sure. Anybody else? All right. Well, if we missed you or for some reason your audio is not working, chat it to us so we can tell you congrats at least. So, but thank you everybody. Congrats everybody, and good luck, Diane, on your test tomorrow. Hopefully it'll go well. And then the last thing before we get into a little bit, I always like to know, and Prakash, you already mentioned you're from India, but if you guys don't mind chatting real quick where you're calling in from today. With these virtual events, we always like to kind of get an idea of where folks are located when they call in. I know we have some folks from Jacksonville. Brendan's starting us off with Jax. Sam in the south side of Jax. Awesome. Prakash, yep, India, yep. Some Ponte Vedras, and as Nick mentioned, he's up in Yulee, North Jax. Middleburg, Florida, which is southwest of Jax. Very cool. Very cool. Palm Beach Gardens. Oh, welcome, Diane. Very cool. Yeah. Little south. Ponte Vedra, a couple Ponte Vedras. Love it. Keep it coming. All right. So, and then the last thing before we get started, again, I always like to welcome folks that are new. So anybody that's, I know we've already heard from Diane, it's her first time joining our Jax group as well as Prakash. But if you guys want to introduce yourself a little bit, I know you talked about your studyings for certs, but if you want to take a few seconds to introduce yourself, we'd be happy to kind of welcome you into the Jax Trailblazer community. And let us know if this is your first community group meeting at all in general, or just your first Jax one. That'd be great to know.
Hi, could you hear me?
Yes, is that Ishmael?
Yes. I take my time to respond to you guys. This is my first time. I'm from Morocco, and actually now I'm outside. This is why I hesitated to present myself. I've reached the ranger level on Trailhead. I'm looking forward to have the two ranger status. And I'm working with insurances, and we are using Salesforce to enhance our digital, both our digital and human processes. And I'm looking forward to learn from you guys and to get inspired by you. So sorry if I'm outside, but I didn't want to miss your meeting and to join you guys. So I will catch back to the cafe where I'm sitting in to listen to guys, and with no disturb from my surroundings. But thank you very much for
Awesome.
this meeting.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Mel. Congrats on reaching ranger level. That's always awesome, exciting stuff. So congrats on that. It takes a lot of points to get to there, badges and points. So congrats.
Yes, and actually Trailhead is first of all is free and it's very helpful. And when it comes to, I still didn't get to the certified, but I trained myself on the 30 trial test on Trailhead, and it's very helpful. And think it's give you more in-depth view of what's happening on the certified exam. So once you're clicking on the trail mix for admin prep, next to it you will find the trial test.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Mel. Appreciate
So
it.
I'm going to listen to you guys and enjoy your meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Ismail. Anybody else?
So this is my first time here in this group. And I've just started reaching out because, well, I have a very strong academic background, and that was my past career. I was a teacher and a professor. And I've decided last year when, because of COVID and because of the drop in college admissions, that it was time to switch careers. So I got a grant through the county where I was living before, and I took a Salesforce course, and I have been since August trying to get employed and trying to get into any program that would offer free training or on-the-job training. I've just applied to Pathfinders.
Okay.
And I've just been all over LinkedIn trying to get noticed. I'm really close to vlogging, meaning I might do a mea culpa vlog and say, hey, I'm great, I swear I am, and get to know me. And I really will be awesome for you. Like, I mean, I've met people that's how they got the Salesforce job, was finally becoming a sensational social media star.
Yes.
And
I was going to ask you if you've been on Twitter. Are you on Twitter currently?
Not all the time. I mean, I have a Twitter account, but I don't always use it.
Okay.
But I mean, and then it's easy to get discouraged. I won't say that it's an easy thing to transition to. And also, I'm not certified yet. So I'm hoping with the certification that anyone will notice me and that anyone will see that I have some transferable skills, if not most transferable skills. As an educator, you still have to be multitasking. You still have to support user profiles in different computer systems that college students do use. That's still part of the job, especially with teaching now going online. So there's still a lot that I could use. I mean, I know it isn't direct Salesforce experience, and of course I keep asking for it. If there's anything I can do for you for free or anything so I can put it on a resume and someone can think that I know anything, then I'm okay.
Sure. No, definitely understand that. Appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, I think once you get that certification, you'll probably get a lot more attention. It's for folks that don't have experience. I think that's what, companies potentially look for. And once you get that cert, there's also a lot more resources, I believe, that are available to you that Salesforce provides to you. They're continuing to add more and more resources out there. There's a Talent Alliance program that they have, but it's only for folks that are certified with less than 6 months experience. They help them match up with companies. Like I work for Coastal Cloud. We're a part of that program. So we try to help out folks that are recently certified, but less than 6 months experience. A lot of other companies in that program as well that continue to help out folks. So continue to work towards that certification for sure. So.
Well, thanks.
Yep. All right. Anybody else? Okay, I know it's a little bit longer than we planned for, but we definitely, because we haven't had meetings in a while, so we want to make sure we give everybody opportunity to kind of introduce themselves. I appreciate everybody, taking the time to come off mute and be on video and kind of let her introduce yourself to everybody. So I appreciate that. So. All right, so the last slide before I pass it over to Angela is our forward-looking statement. I'm not going to read this word for word. You've seen it and heard it before, but ultimately, especially in a release highlights, there might be something that Angela talks about that's not generally available. It might be beta, pilot, pre-GA, whatever they call it. But if you're on this call to make purchasing decisions, only make it from anything that's generally available and not those other statuses. So, okay. And then lastly, just if you would remain on mute, while we're presenting, but at any time, feel free to take yourself off mute, ask a question, make a comment or anything like that. If you don't want to interrupt, feel free to throw a quick question or comment in the chat and we can get to it when we get to a good stopping point. That's fine as well. And then we'd love for everyone to be on webcam. Appreciate most of you already are, but feel free to do that. And if not, that's fine as well. And then that's pretty much it. So I'm going to turn it over to Angela. Who's going to give us some awesome highlights from our most recent Spring 22 release that I think went into production. What is it? About a month ago at this point? Was it in February? Can't keep up.
February.
They come hot and heavy these days, I feel like. But so, all right, cool. So over to you, Angela.
Great. Can everyone see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Not yet. I just stopped sharing, so that might have been clogging you up. I'm trying to share.
Okay.
It says you're starting to share, but it hasn't quite shared quite yet.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, there we go. We're in business. We got you.
Okay. You can see me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
We can see you. We can hear you, and we can see your screen.
Perfect.
We got
all
the
right. I just got a
now.
notification that said my connection was shaky, so I just wanted to.
It looked a little wonky for a second there, but I think you're back in business. So cool.
Okay, perfect. All right, so today we're talking about Salesforce Spring 22 release, which we hit spring about a couple of weeks ago, right? A week or two. And like Mark said, rolled out in February. We've already kind of covered this stuff. If anyone snuck in after introductions in the beginning, just briefly, Angela Moten, co-leader here for the admin group, and been on the platform since 2014, working as a solution architect right now. Thanks, Mark, for covering our forward-looking statement, so we can bypass this slide as well and get right into our presentation. So today, also with housekeeping, I want you to know that if you do have a question, anyone's definitely welcome to chime in. If they've worked with a particular feature, please share your knowledge. It's not just about me, everyone collaborate and help each other out as well. I'm going to briefly talk about some of the enhancements, but of course it's not exhaustive to everything that's out there. So we'll talk about some of the resources at the end where you can get some additional information. We're gonna talk loosely about general enhancements, experience, apps, application development, lightning experience. And I wanna throw in some Slack in there since I know that's a big thing, and I'm working towards my Slack cert. So we'll talk a little bit
Awesome.
about what's going on with that. Yeah. All right, so first things foremost with general enhancements, of course, we need to get ready for multi-factor authentication. Like we said, this went into effect February 1st, 2022, where all customers are contractually required to use MFA when accessing Salesforce products. That's whether you are logging in direct or using SSO. Salesforce does let you use their MFA service for free, or if you're using SSO, you can use your SSO provider's service. But multi-factor authentication, for those who don't know, is just, and I'm sure you've been experiencing it with your bank apps and other apps where you not only have to log in with a requirement that you know, like your username and password, but now you also have to provide a second piece of information, whether it be some type of credential or key for your password, or just some type of PII question that they ask you to be able to log in. The reason why they're doing this, of course, even looking at what's going on in the world now, there's cyber attacks that have upgraded significantly around the world, and Salesforce is proactively trying to definitely protect your users' information that's in your org. So they are requiring it. And it's one of the easiest, most effective ways to kind of prevent unauthorized access and basically safeguard your business and your customers' data. So that is definitely going on now. And also you can go into setup and type in MFA. Salesforce gives you kind of some tools to roll it out to your org. And they have a whole multi-factor authentication assistant in the setup of your org that can help you acclimate your system to that. All right, the next one is convert workflow rules to flows with the migrate to flow tool. And this has kind of been in our orgs for a while, even though it's still in beta. But as you know, also, Salesforce is gently nudging us constantly to move away from workflow rules, even process builders to some extent, and start using flows. And to that end, they have created a tool to be able to migrate your workflow rules over to a flow to help you acclimate and get used to that. And so you don't have to rebuild the whole thing out in a flow. It'll help migrate that workflow over to a flow in the builder, for the flow builder. With experience, you now have the ability to archive your cloud sites. So now you'll be able to see an archive button when you're in your actual digital experiences. So if there's a site that's no longer serving the business needs that you have set out for when you built it, you can definitely now archive those sites. You can archive up to 100 sites, and it doesn't count against any of your 100 sites that you can have. And if you change your mind, you can always unarchive a site as well. When you archive a site, it's unavailable, and that URL for that site is unavailable, it'll put up a site in maintenance notification to anyone who goes to that URL, and it's inaccessible to all users, including admins. So do know that if you want to use it as an admin, you're going to have to unarchive it before you can actually do anything with that site again. Also, with this enhancement for experiences or cloud sites, you now have more Experience Cloud licenses. Community Cloud can now support up to 100+ million site members, which is amazing.
Oh, wow.
Customer Community Plus and Partner Community licenses with account role optimization can support 10+ million site members as well. So, this is for Lightning Experience sites, your Visualforce sites, all of that. It applies to all of that. So now you can definitely support much larger scale of users per org. All right. There were some flow builder enhancements for the application development piece. One of them is, and I'm sure that some of you, if you've been working with flows, you've noticed this already when you're creating new flows, that there's an auto layout mode that automatically connects all your flow elements together. You can still do freeform if you want to move your elements on the page yourself, but I do love auto layout. It just makes everything look very neat, very clean when you're creating your flows. So that's now generally available. It's out of beta mode. And you can switch between auto layout and freeform by choosing the auto layout from the drop-down menu. And with it, you can't really tell, but there's like when it connected, there's that plus sign, and you can just click on that plus sign to insert an element. So I do love auto layout. What else did they have in here? Record triggered flow. Let me see. Flow Trigger Explorer also is in there, where you can basically be able to, from one space, be able to tell when you're building a flow, how many flows are using a specific object or use case, which is always great because when you're looking at management of flows, kind of the rule of thumb is you don't want to build multiple flows for the same object, right? So as you're building a flow, you can easily see if there's an object already using a flow, and you can kind of see that from the flow builder, Flow Trigger Explorer, when you're on your flow, and it just helps you mitigate and keep things clean and keep things in compliance when you're, or best practices when you're building out your flows. There's also a next best action on flow, if I can talk today. You can now build MBA recommendation strategies for Flow Builder. So when you go to create, you can create strategies for your Flow Builder, where you can see like what's the next best recommended element to put into a flow. And you would do that all from your templates tab. You can, instead of selecting a new flow, you can select the recommendation strategy category, and then you can choose the recommendation strategy flow type. So instead of like a screen flow or whatever, you can choose that strategy flow type and click create, and kind of put in the parameters of what you're creating your flow, and it can give you next best recommendations on how to build out that flow. So that was pretty cool. And then there's also the new Salesforce mobile enhancements that comes with that. So Salesforce has now extended the mobile app experience to all iPads and most of the Androids now. The new feature supports Lightning apps, like it says here, navigation, record pages, and is now able to support that rotation between portrait and landscape modes, which is awesome.
Very cool.
Love that. Yeah. So I was looking forward to seeing that roll out as well.
That's huge.
Mm-hmm. All right, apps for Lightning experience, Lightning usage app enhancements. They now have this Lightning usage app enhancement where admins can view all of their slow pages from a single spot. So basically you can monitor your slowest desktop record pages and discover which pages are taking too long. There's like a new prompt in the Lightning App Builder that takes you to the Lightning Usage app, which lists the desktop record pages with a median estimated performance, as you can see there. The table lists the page name, the developer name here, and also the number of views. And then you can click on view to see the actual performance analysis results for that page. So that was pretty cool. And then for analytics, they now have this option to easily find the right report type for new reports. This is something that you have to enable and set up. So you would, in setup, you can type in reports and dashboards in your quick find box, and then select reports and dashboard settings. And you'll select enable recommended report types. And what this does is when you go to create a report, you can still choose the report type on your left-hand side. But on the right-hand side, let's say you want to build a report that was similar to one you built last week. Now you can see reports that were created by you, the most recent reports that you created, objects that were used in the report type. You can see report types created by others that were similar to that. So it's just a pretty cool feature that now you can, if you want to build a report type that's pretty much similar, you don't have to try to rack your brain to try to remember which report type I used, because all of that data is now listed on the right-hand side with what you just used.
Yeah, I can see that helping you not be able to, not to create duplicate reports in general, right? You can see the report type information in the reports, like, oh, okay, somebody already got that report out there. Perfect.
For sure, awesome. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you're not sure whether the report type includes particular fields that you need for your report, like this fourth area where it says fields and report type, you can quickly do like a lookup for fields that was in that report. So you can see if that report type has the fields that you want to report on, which is super cool as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, also, you can edit multiple fields inline on the report run page, which I think is huge. After you run a report, if you see data that's kind of wrong or you need to update something, you always have to go back to edit that report and make changes. Now you can do inline editing on that run report page and hit save without having to rerun it again. So that's basically the ask for that. And then it affects multiple rows and columns. And then you can just save all those changes that you make throughout it.
Do you know if there's any restrictions, like on list view, you can only do it if you have this one record type, do you know if that's, I haven't looked at this at all yet, so no.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any particular restrictions. But you do, once again, you have to activate this and set up. So you would go back to those dashboards and report settings and enable inline editing to reports. But you will see that if there's a column or a cell that you can't inline edit, it'll have a lock on it. So you'll have a visual indicator if that's a cell that you can update or not.
Very good. That's awesome.
All right. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about customer success and how that's changing. I know that as an admin, I definitely stay connected with Salesforce for questions I might have. And I know that, depending on the product that you purchase, whether it's enterprise or whatever, you have a specific kind of success plan that you can get support from Salesforce, and they've made some enhancements there. So now if you have the signature success plan, you can collaborate with your success manager or a team of experts via Slack. And you can get real-time guidance in your own dedicated Slack workspace. If you're trying to solve an issue or you have any questions or resolve issues, supposedly, if you're in that Slack group, they can get to you faster. So they're beefing up their Slack practice, and they definitely are looking for ways to utilize it. And so they're going to definitely make sure that the response time for Slack is more quickly than if you were putting in a ticket. Also, they have for the Success Center, they've made some enhancements as well. They've curated resources, and documents. They've added best practices to help you accomplish your goals better. And they've made things more centralized. So if you're not used to accessing the Success Center, I would say it's a good time since they've made a lot of updates. So if you're looking for ways to do things, or an easy way to find what you want to accomplish or build out in your org, the Success Center, they built out some enhancements there to help you easily find what you're looking for and get the resources that you need. Also, they have this new expert coaching sessions for people on the Premier Success Plan. So if your company does have the Premier Success Plan for you guys, they do have these expert coaching sessions that offer updates to the expert coaching catalog. It now include new programs, refreshes, and more. They're adding new stuff like all of the industry cloud stuff, Slack, anything that they've recently acquired or built. They've added new sessions for a lot of those tools and resources. So they've updated the catalog, and you can get some expert coaching in those areas. And then lastly, there's this Slack Connect where I don't know if you've ever used Slack. There's a little bit of disconnect based on the version that you have. So if you have a paid Slack instance, you couldn't collaborate with someone on a free plan. So now they no longer limit that collaboration to only partners on paid Slack plans. Admins can go into and enable what they're calling Slack Connect with free teams as well. So you can work with people again across different Slack products. For them, they say it's fostering communication and deepening relationships at no extra cost, but I thought that was strategic on their behalf, especially if they're trying to build that practice out a little bit more.
For sure, yeah.
All right, I didn't expect to get here quite this quick. Maybe I thought we would have more questions, but this, like I said, it was not an exhaustive list. So if you do want to find out more about some of the enhancements in the release, you can always go to salesforce.com/releases. They also have demo videos on the release. There's a highlights trail that's coming out, as well as places like Automation Champion, Salesforce Ben, a lot of those kind of online resources. And then they have the release notes and release readiness trailhead, trailblazer groups. And I'm trying to look at my screen from here, but definitely there's tons of resources. This deck will be available in our admin community for you to go through and click on these link resources to get more information. But at this time, if you have any questions about anything specific that you saw today, chime in. Let's talk about it. Let's communicate about it. Let's have a discussion. Or is there anything that you wanted to see that you didn't see in here? Anything that you've seen that's coming out that you're excited about? We can definitely talk about that as well. No? Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing that. But definitely, if you do have any enhancements that have been like you've seen them and you want to throw it out there to the group, put it in the chat, or once we make the post with the deck, add any comments there so we can communicate within the community as well.
Okay, cool. Appreciate you. All that stuff was really, I think I love when we can pull in a lot of stuff that's for everybody without a bunch of add-on products that you got to buy and all that kind of good stuff. So thanks for kind of really showcasing a lot of those and a lot of valuable stuff. Obviously, a lot of flow upgrades, which was to be expected and will continue to be expected over the next releases. So everybody can get migrated over to flows as quickly as possible from old workflow rules and process builders. So appreciate all that. And then I didn't realize that it was already in beta for the report inline editing. So I'm definitely going to go check that out a little bit for sure. So that seems like such a big time saver to get stuff done. List views are great, but then you got to, like I said, you got to make sure you're only looking at a certain record type. If it doesn't have that limitation, that would be awesome. So that we can update even more all at one time. So appreciate that.
Yeah, so this whole time I was actually playing in a developer org, and what's really cool as far as the inline editing is you can actually in Lightning App Builder. So like if let's say you're working with the related list component, on the right hand side for customizing, it actually gives you a radio button where you can actually just select enable inline editing, and you don't have to go look for it in like the settings or something like that. So that's like a in page editing ability to just go ahead and enable that I find super convenient.
That's cool. Awesome. Very good.
Also, I didn't mention it in the slide, but because it's also in beta, but permission set group assignments now, there's this feature where you can have expiration dates. So if you have like vendors in your system, you can give them permissions. You can assign them permissions that expire at a certain time, so you don't have to remember to deactivate them and their permissions. So I thought that was pretty cool that they now have that feature. It's in beta right now, but you can definitely now create permission set group assignments with expiration dates.
It's good. That makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
Good. So anybody else have anything else, like Ann just said, whether it was something she covered that you might want to hear more about, or something you knew was coming in this spring release that we didn't talk about that you wanted to kind of maybe ask about or tell us a little bit about, that you've, like Angela said, is there anything that anybody has enabled or started using in this spring release within your org that, be good to kind of share with the rest of the group here as well, that was like you found super productive to implement for your company?
I was actually curious about, and I could be wrong, but I believe they made some changes to the Einstein bots. And I was just wondering, for those that are actually in org and utilizing those, what kind of success they've seen with those upgrades, and how that new, Einstein AI, when applied to the bots, is, helping customer experiences when, just communicating it with service, because I'm really interested in Service Cloud. And I know bots are, kind of a really big, fun tool that you can utilize in Service Cloud. So I was just curious if anyone had any experience with some of the updates with the Einstein bot features. I can definitely do some further research. I was just curious.
Yeah, nothing from my end, at least. I don't know, Angela, if you've had any experience with it, especially with the new stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, I can say we pretty much have not implemented any Einstein products from anything that I've been working with. I've been curious about it, and we started to go down that route, and then we kind of changed our minds. So I don't really have any good experience to talk about from there. I do know that if you do have some Einstein predictors created in your, or you can now add those to your flows as well, like a new task, or so when you go to add a element to your flow, it'll be in the same list as add a task or whatever. You can do an Einstein predictor indicator that you can add now to your flow. But I don't know how the bot enhancements have made the experience for users better overall.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that information and fielding my question nonetheless.
Absolutely. Good question, though, because like you said, Einstein bots is really huge for, creating efficiencies. And, a lot of people, they don't want to necessarily talk to somebody. They just want to get their answer and as quickly as possible. So if the Einstein bots are set up correctly, the person can get what they need and move along. So yeah.
I think in some of my research I've done, the statistics are somewhere around 82% of people will attempt to either search out on Google or YouTube or something to fix their service issue before they actually reach out to a company. And then even more so when they do reach out, if given the option to call somebody or to, text or use an instant messenger application of many sorts, that they would choose that before they would actually a phone call. And I know one of the things with the new Service 360 additions and stuff to Service Cloud, it really opens up all the channels. As I was watching the keynote the other day, and it was talking about kind of like being in the 4th generation and there being over like 10 channels. Like, back in the day, it was like, you wrote in or you called, and then it was email, and then then you had like kind of like your automated things like your Siri and your Alexas at home. And then now we're in such an area where there's so many different channels that you can customize and really help a service experience for your end user of whatever product your company might be selling. That it's just there's really cool stuff happening in Service Cloud.
Totally agree, for sure. Yeah. Cool.
And also, go ahead, Diane.
No, I was just joking and pretty much saying that I'm very different. I try to Google and research and do everything, but then if I know somebody's phone number, I'm probably calling. And I will explain. I'll have a battery of lists of what I already tried to do. And then just to kind of give that person like, okay, check she's done this, check she's done this, check she's done this. Did you try this? No. Okay, try this. But at least if I bother you, at least I've already tried so many other ways. So it won't be the biggest waste of time. At least I try to offer that comfort to anyone I phone in case I need to phone.
Yeah, for sure.
If anyone's worked on a service desk, there's always the inside joke of like, did you reboot? Like, have you restarted the computer? Like, step one.
Number 1 way to solve a problem. Yes.
That's right.
I rebooted 8 times.
I heard one. I was talking to one of my colleagues at a place where I was servicing. He said he would tell people to unplug the power cord from the power supply and blow in it. He said not because it did anything, because it's not like the old Nintendo games. He said, but just so people would literally, because people will tell you, oh yes, I've restarted, or I made sure it was plugged in, thinking that obviously I would do that. But then they go down there and they're like, oh wait, I didn't have it plugged in. They'll be like, oh, it's funny because they'll be like, man, blowing and it worked. I was like, oh, okay, sure, bud.
You're the expert. You told them how to fix it. Yep.
Right, absolutely. Good time.
I can't tell you how many desks I've called on there to see that the plug had been kicked out. Ridiculous.
Absolutely. Every time our HDMI cable, my monitor's broke. Is your HDMI cable plugged in? Or optical port for that matter?
The worst is when you've done everything and can show pictures in a montage. I used to do help desk like 20 years ago and stuff like that. And it's when your performance is contingent on how fast you can go through a call, but then there's always that person that has a really, really long, complicated, something happened. And it's usually somebody's email that got corrupted, that somebody's email attachment that got corrupted or something. Those are usually the fun ones to pass along to the network guys who are hating you because, well, I don't have the ability to uncorrupt a financial file of Excel with all the links and everything that they're probably pretty screwed if they don't. So there's always, so as a network person, what you do is just go to the backup and give them the bad news. Well, I've got yesterday's file for you, but I've just spent like 980. I know, but yesterday's file, not last week's file. Yesterday's file is there.
Yeah, the rollback is always the go-to in a situation like that. See if you can roll it back a day.
Yep. All right. Yeah, it's always the fun. Plug it in. Oh, I thought it was plugged in. All right, so I appreciate everybody having a little conversation there. We have a little bit of a fun activity. I think we still want to do it. Maybe we'll do it for like 20 minutes from now to about 1:20. So I'm going to do some breakout rooms here from current slide. So what we'll do is, I'm just going to do, because of the small group we have here, I'm going to do 2 breakout rooms. So we'll have, no more than 5 people in each group. I'm giving you a question to think about. You guys can talk about what's the latest great TV show you binge watched. You don't have to talk about this topic, but in case you get in the breakout room and you need a topic to talk about, if you want to keep talking about fun, interesting Service Cloud stuff, that's cool too, or whatever else you want to talk about. But we'll get that started. You're going to get a prompt that's going to let you know that we're going to start these. And then 60 seconds before we come back all together, you'll get a little notification to say, hey, 60 seconds, you're going to be rejoined. So you can either wait for that 60 seconds to be over or go and just rejoin at that time. We'll all get back together and do some closing remarks, and then go over, some updates for upcoming stuff, that kind of good stuff. So, all right. So I'm getting ready to open up the break rooms now.